K.J. Hamler returns to his native Michigan. The Nittany Lion wide receiver, along with quarterback Sean Clifford, forms one of the best passing attacks in college football. Brian Lewerke has had an up-and-down season for Michigan State, but Mark D'Antonio's Spartans have defeated the Nittany Lions in each of the last 2 years. Will Penn State leave today with cries of anguish or with celebration of victory? And we welcome you live inside Spartan Stadium. You're watching ESPN College Football presented by TrackPhone, part of Auto Trader Tailgate Week. Sean McDonough and Todd Blackledge, Holly Road down on the field. The rain has begun. The temperature in the 40s. Penn State, number 6. And with a chance, certainly, Todd, to move up with a victory today, with Oklahoma going down to defeat in Manhattan moments ago. So a big game not only on that national scale, but also in the Big Ten East. Ohio State a winner today over Wisconsin. So the Nittany Lions need to win this one to remain tied with the Buckeyes atop the Big Ten East. Michigan State won the toss and deferred. So the Nittany Lions elected to receive the opening kickoff. Here's Pontiac, Michigan native K.J. Hamler. He got whacked and the ball came out. And the Spartans think they have it. There are flags down on the play. Still no signal yet from the referee, Jerry McGinn, and his crew.
The ball definitely came out, Sean. I looked at a replay here. It definitely came out. It looks like Penn State recovered it, but it was certainly knocked loose on the very first play of the ball game.
K.J. Hamler from 45 minutes down the road in Pontiac, Michigan, who was committed to Michigan State while he was in high school, changed his mind and elected to go to Penn State, off to a shaky start.
The ruin of the field was a fumble recovered by Penn State. During the return, holding. Return team, number 19. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Trent Gordon called for the hold. So a shaky start for the Nittany Lions. They recover their own fumble, but the penalty will have them starting from the 19-yard line. Led by the quarterback Sean Clifford. Had an outstanding first season as the starter, taking over for the 3-year starter Trace McSorley, now with the Baltimore Ravens. Out of Cincinnati, Ohio, a powered St. Xavier, and leading the Big Ten in total offense yards per game, 287 plus. They start on the ground with Noah Cain, one of 4 running backs who's been dividing time for Penn State. Joe Bocci, the leader of the defense, the middle linebacker, made the tackle. Todd, interesting the mindset for Michigan State. Off a bye. When we saw them 2 weeks ago, they got demolished in Madison 38-0 by the Badgers. I know you feel they're a dangerous opponent for this Penn State team today.
Absolutely. I think this is going to be the best Michigan State version that we've seen all season in this game today.
Noah Cain ahead to the 24, and it was a Penn State team that was in the top 10 in the country each of the last 2 years when Michigan State knocked them off.
This defense was outstanding last year. 8 starters returned this year, but they have not played up to the standard they expected. That bye week was very important for them to get their mind right. I think it's going to be a highly motivated Michigan State defense here today.
Spartans, as you saw, coached by Mark D'Antonio earlier this year, became the winningest coach in Spartan history, past the Hall of Famer Duffy Doherty. Now 111 wins for Mark here in East Lansing. Noah Cain chopped down. It was a must-make tackle for Josh Butler in the open field to prevent the first down, and he made it. So it'll be a 3-and-out for Penn State. And Blake Gillikin, the veteran punter, senior from Smyrna, Georgia, comes on, one of the best punters in Penn State history, averaging more than 43 per punt for his career. Brandon Soward's back deep. Light rain falling, temperature in the high 40s. Great kick drove Soward's back inside the 20, looking for help, and nobody nearby in green, and the Spartans will start from their own 15-yard line. So you, Todd, addressed the mindset of Michigan State off the bye. It seemed like a hungry team that we met with yesterday. And you wonder about Penn State still feeling pretty good about that win at home last week against Michigan.
Well, this is the time of year when the stakes get higher and the games get tougher. We saw this Penn State team get a gritty win at Iowa, a tough environment, an emotional win last week at home against Michigan. Now another tough opponent against a team that's kind of had their number the last 2 years, and the weather adds to that as well today.
On their first play from scrimmage, here's Elijah Collins. It's been a struggle to run the ball this season for Michigan State. Collins, one of just 3 scholarship running backs still in the program, but he got 7 on first down. The quarterback is Brian Lewerke, the senior from Phoenix, Arizona. Out of Pinnacle High School, a pro prospect in the opinion of Todd McShay. Certainly has the size, 6'3", 216 pounds. Had an up-and-down career, an up-and-down season. And Elijah Collins gets 1. Here comes 3rd down and 2 for the Spartans.
One of the other things with the bye week that helped Michigan State is they got a couple offensive linemen healthy. They're actually starting a new left tackle today. A.J. Arcuri, who was expected to be the starter, has not played. This is his first career start. And he is getting the nod here at left tackle. They've been through 4 left tackles to start this season.
Offensive line play has been a huge issue for this Michigan State offense. Elijah Collins does not get the first down. Micah Parsons made the play, their leading tackler for the year. An emerging star, sophomore out of Harrisburg, coming off 14 tackles in the win over the Wolverines during the whiteout last Saturday night.
Really good job by both Parsons and Jan Johnson, the middle linebacker, staying right at home, weren't fooled by any of the movement from the offensive line, and made that play stop short of the first down.
One of the things the Spartans worked on during the bye week was trying to get some push from that offensive line, move the defense back. They couldn't on that 3rd down. Jake Hartbarger, 6th-year senior on the punt. Low wobbly kick. Hamler charged after it and then backed away. The Spartan sideline thinks Penn State touched it. The officials say no.
Well, they'll certainly take a look at it as they're able to do that. Hamler, 2 kicks at him.
That didn't come anywhere near him.
No.
And Dominic Long downed it at the 38.
Welcome back to East Lansing, Michigan, where a steady rain has started to fall. Pretty heavily drops now onto the field. I talked to teams, both of the coaches, and they said they did do some wet football work on Thursday. James Franklin said we do it as a matter of practice every single Thursday. And Brad Salem, Michigan State, their offensive coordinator, said we get the balls, they spray them down, make sure they're very wet so that they're prepared for this moment. The biggest problem is it was not raining all through warm-up, so nobody got experience and got to get used to this rain. It just started right as we kicked off the ball game.
All right, Holly, thank you. Second possession for Penn State, a 3-and-out the first time around. Here's Noah Kane, who got knocked back after crossing the 40 to the 41, driven back by Raekwon Williams. There's James Franklin, head coach at Penn State, his 6th season.
And just to follow up with Holly's report on the weather, I mean, it affects everybody, but the kicking game is where it maybe has its biggest effect. Snaps, catching snaps, kicking the football.
Quick slant to the tight end, Pat Freiermuth, into Spartan territory to the 44-yard line, and that's 20 straight games with a catch.
Well, watch the quickness of the move by Freiermuth. Here he is right here working on Tyreek Thompson. Little quick move of the feet, shook himself free and got the catch.
Back to the ground with Noah Kane. And he's ahead for 9. One of the surprises last week, Todd, in the Michigan game, Kane had only 5 carries. You know, they seem determined not to pick a number 1 lead back. Mark D'Antonio said to us yesterday, Kane is their featured back, isn't he? And he formed it as a question. He certainly is to start the game here. He gets stood up short of the line to make.
Well, last week he was number 2 in the batting order. He was the second back to go in behind Journey Brown, but he didn't get a carry until the second half. Today he started the game, and they're feeding him right away. So He's definitely getting his action early in this ball game.
Then the Lions going quickly on 3rd down and 1. McCain had those 5 carries despite the fact he had 100 yards in each of the previous 2 games against Purdue and Iowa. Movement, and coming across the line was Naquan Jones.
Michigan State rotates 4 guys in that defensive tackle position. Naquan Jones early there.
Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
Pretty good job by Sean Clifford, also using a long snap count. They were at the line of scrimmage for a long time, and he was able to draw that free 5 yards for the first down. Got Hamler in the bottom of a trips formation right here, in closest to the ball against this kind of coverage that usually draws a safety rather than a cornerback. See if Ricky Ronnie, the offensive coordinator, checks that as well and sees if he has a matchup that he likes for KJ Hamler.
Jahan Dotson next to him, and then Daniel George, the widest receiver, to the right. Clifford looking in that direction, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Tyreek Thompson there with help from Jacob Slade.
They tried to use Hamler as a decoy that time. Michigan State was not fooled. They used Hamler to fake the screen. They tried to slip Dotson deep down the field, and he was well covered. That's why Clifford had to try to run with the football.
Hamler told us yesterday it was very difficult for him to tell Mark D'Antonio that he was not coming to Michigan State. He used to come here regularly to watch the Spartans practice. He decided after much contemplation that Penn State was the place for him. It's Noah Cain straight ahead. Good tackle around the legs by Jacob Panashuk, one of the 2 Panashuk brothers on that front line defensively for the Spartans. His brother Mike is a defensive tackle. One of the reasons Hamler chose Penn State, he and Sean Clifford formed a friendship, attending high school camps together over the years, and they have certainly formed quite a connection on the field as well.
They really like to work Freiermuth's side when they had this kind of a bunch formation to the left.
Short set by Clifford. He's pressured, dumps it off for Hamler, who has a first down, and he's out of bounds near the 15. Shoved out by Josiah Scott.
Good job by Clifford, buying as much time as he could in the pocket. And he kind of comes to Hamler late. It wasn't an early read to throw it to KJ Hamler, and then you see the elusiveness and the toughness of Hamler to get the first down.
KJ has about 30 friends and loved ones for whom he needed to find tickets who are in attendance here today. After the play fake, lob for Freiermuth, touchdown Penn State.
Wow, what a throw. There was a Michigan State defender that was in position, but he mistimed and misjudged the ball. And Clifford just lofts this to the pylon, and Freiermuth runs under it for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Sean Clifford, 17th touchdown pass of the year, and only 2 interceptions. Here's Jake Pinniger to add the extra point. And Penn State first on the board in rainy East Lansing on a 16-yard touchdown pass. Freiermuth's 5th of the season. He had 8 last year as a freshman.
Football on ABC is presented by TrackPhone, the new TrackPhone wireless. Now you're in control. And in part by General Mills. Bring more to your game day with General Mills tailgate recipes. See what you can create at wearetailgatenation.com.
Tailgate week off to a great start here in East Lansing. As Holly said, the folks were lucky. It was dry. I mean, it's amazing, Todd. It started to rain just about at the kickoff. I watched the local weather on TV here in East Lansing last night, and the weatherman said the rain is likely to start right around 3:30 tomorrow at the kickoff, and he nailed it.
Boy, he did.
Here's Jordan Stout, strong-legged transfer from Virginia Tech, hits a hook, and it's out of bounds, so Michigan State will start at the 35-yard line.
Well, look at this touchdown again. Now, this is Josh Butler right here. And as Freiermuth goes to the corner of the end zone, Butler's going to be in position to make the play. But the throw by Sean Clifford had so much arch on it, it just went right over top of his head to that front pylon. I mean, it looked for sure like it was going to get knocked away, for if not intercepted, and it ends up as a touchdown.
Well, certainly when he released the ball from where we are in the press box, it looked like it had a great chance to be picked off with 4 green shirts and only Freiermuth there in the white. Is that one of those plays as the quarterback where you know you're supposed to throw it toward the front pylon, so you do it no matter what it looks like?
Well, I don't know. You usually do that to the back pylon, not to the front pylon, but this time it worked out for him.
There's Elijah Collins stacked up after a hard run of about 6 for the redshirt freshman, who, as we mentioned, doesn't have much help. When he emerged early in the year as the running back after a 192-yard game against Western Michigan, they had 2 other running backs who jumped into the transfer portal, Ladarius Jefferson and Connor Hayward, both of whom were big factors in Michigan State's win at Penn State last year. Well, not a lot of depth at running back. As a matter of fact, they're dressed Brandon Wright, a true freshman today, who hasn't played at all. Cody White, is that a catch? Yes, it is, and it's a first down for the Spartans at their own 49-yard line.
Well, the ball really hung in the air a long time. Look at that wobble, no spiral, and Cody does a nice job keeping 1 foot in bounds and making the catch. That ball really got away from Brian Lewerke and wobbled its way to the sideline.
There is a breeze here today. He had trouble in the wind last game 2 weeks ago at Wisconsin, threw for just 53 yards, 7 out of 16. It was a windy day, but his opposite number, Jack Cohn of Wisconsin, went 18 for 21 in the same weather. Elijah Collins ahead into Penn State territory to the 44. Tonight on the ACC Network, 7:30 Eastern Time, Boston College and number 4 Clemson, presented by Geico. Already had one team ahead of Penn State get knocked off today. Oklahoma went down just moments ago at Kansas State. That would seem to be an easier matchup for Clemson, but you never know. Elijah Collins runs for a first down to the 39 of Penn State.
But you see how fast Micah Parsons is and why he makes so many tackles. 14 last week against Michigan. He is so fast getting to the line of scrimmage. That looked like it was going to be a much bigger run than just getting the first down. Parsons kept it to a pretty short gain. Covers a lot of ground.
8 of those 14 tackles last week stopped the Wolverines for 1 yard or fewer. So amplifying what you were saying, Todd, he gets to the line quickly, reads it very well, and uses his speed to get there. Nothing doing for Collins on that play. A loss, as a matter of fact, of a yard. Micah Parsons, very highly recruited out of Harrisburg. Number 1 player in the state, a 5-star recruit. He was homecoming king. Has the words "humble beast" tattooed on each arm. Says he wants to stay grounded, but when the time comes, I need to be a beast. Long throw. Robert Windsor put heat on Lewerke, and nearest to it was Tariq Castro Fields. Now, can you be humble if you call yourself a beast on the other arm? Is that considered humility?
I think it is. Yeah, I think he's just responding to what the situation dictates. I think overall he's a humble guy, but he knows when he needs to be the other guy. So, yeah. And I would not argue with him.
No, nor would I. 6'3", 245 for Micah Parsons. Likely to try to cause a problem here for Lewerke, and it's a drop ball. And if you're looking for other reasons why Michigan State is near the bottom of a lot of offensive categories in the country, drop passes is a big one. That's the 27th as a team this year.
Well, that's kind of a funky angle. The ball's going down, but it should have been caught. And again, when the ball's wet, it affects how you throw it. It affects how you catch it. Got to concentrate just a little bit more. And they had some blockers in front on that screen on 3rd and 9. Might have had a chance to convert.
Brad Salem, the offensive coordinator and running back coach, talking to Collins, the freshman from Detroit. So here's KJ Hamler. Probably won't have a chance to return it if Hartbarger does his job as Mark D'Antonio suggested. Don't give him a chance to return it. Hung that one up high. It's a fair catch at the 14-yard line. You're watching the Big Ten on ABC. And aerial coverage above Spartan Stadium provided by Goodyear, introducing the newest honorary member of the College Football Hall of Fame, the Goodyear Blimp. Goodyear, more driven. Spartan Stadium seats 75,000. Some empty seats here on this raw day with the rain falling and the temperature in the 40s. Journey Brown gets his first carry, and the journey doesn't go very far. It's a loss of a yard on the play. Antoine Simmons made the tackle among those braving the conditions, and it's not a surprise. He's every football game he can get to. Tom Izzo, Hall of Fame coach of Michigan State, his Spartans #1 in the preseason poll. They had their Midnight Madness along with the Michigan State women last night. Tom in costume as usual. It's always a much anticipated event to see what he's going to dress up as for Midnight Madness. Sean Clifford, deep throw, and it's incomplete. Going for Hamler. And Josiah Scott had the one-on-one coverage.
Really a good throw. I mean, you put this over the outside shoulder, the defender has no chance. It's good coverage by Josiah Scott, but the only place you can put the football, Hamler just not able to come down with the catch.
So 3rd down and 11. Penn State marched right down the field the last time it had the ball and scored the only touchdown of the game. 16-yard pass, Clifford to Freiermuth. Clifford is an excellent runner. He was very close to the line as he threw that one. There's a flag down in the secondary. Freiermuth again appeared to be the intended target with Xavier Henderson in coverage.
I think they're going to get defensive holding on Michigan State. It looked like Justin Shorter was being held as he was trying to run an in route.
Holding. Defense. Number 29. 10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
Shakur Brown, who they were excited to get back. He hasn't played very much the last few weeks. Watch him on Shorter as Shorter tries to get separation to go inside. There's the grab. That's a tough penalty. They had a 3rd and 10, and now a first down for Penn State.
If I remember correctly, Shakur is the last name of the late great Tupac Shakur, whom I've always been a very big fan. Clifford on target to Justin Shorter. He's yanked out of bounds by Shakur Brown. Gain of about 9. Shorter hasn't been involved much in the passing game of late. Just one catch in the previous 3 ball games.
You know, it's funny though. Before the game, I ran into Jack Ham, and we were talking about Penn State.
That must have hurt.
And he said, yeah, well, he's a lot leaner than he used to be. But he did say they need to find this number 3 receiver, and they think Justin Shorter could be the guy.
Journey Brown. Good tackle by David Dowell. Prevent a much longer run. But it is a first down to the 39-yard line as we go under 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter in East Lansing.
Justin Shorter was a 5-star recruit. They know what they've got in Hamler. They know what they have in Dotson. They need to find that 3rd receiver.
Certainly gives them some size. Shorter's 6'4". Deep throw, and it is dropped by a wide open Dan Chisena, one of the fastest men on the team. He's a sprinter on the Penn State track team. He was as open can be.
Well, he's open because Shakur Brown's going to fall down. He slips right here, and you see the speed of Chisena, and I'll tell you what, Sean Clifford on a wet day is putting the ball right in the right spots deep down the field, and his guy's just not able to come up with the catch.
Journey Brown turns the corner and goes out of bounds. Very close to another first down. Looks like he has it just shy of the 50.
All four of the Penn State running backs have had their moments, you know, where they've been the guy, where they've had big plays. That's why James Franklin and Ricky Ronnie want to continue to rotate all four guys. They each bring us something a little bit different to the offensive table.
Clifford, after the run fake, dumped it off to Nick Bowers, another of their tight ends, fifth-year senior. And he got about 6.
I like Penn State's offensive rhythm so far in this football game, and they really are. And it all goes, it's running through Sean Clifford. He is just making really good decisions and putting the ball where it needs to be.
He's now 7 for 9. That one's right on target to Hamlin, as you said, Tom, on a cold and rainy day. And the 2 balls that were not completed was the good long throw to Hamlin over shoulder, could have been caught. And Chisena certainly could have had that last one when he was wide open down the middle. Clifford, first-year starter, threw for at least 200 yards in each of their first 5 games of the season. Held to under 200 the last couple of weeks against good defenses in Iowa and Michigan. Journey Brown stopped for a loss of a couple.
Yeah, I really like Sean Clifford. The times that we've gotten to spend with him this year, he's a very vocal guy. He's a very aggressive leader. He's a very confident guy that, even though this is his first year as a starter, he's very much like Trace McSorley in that the team really rallies around him. They really gravitate to his leadership.
Very likable personality, but the players we've talked to play around him in that offense say he, like McSorley, as you said, Todd, is a take charge guy in that huddle. Spartans bring some pressure, and that's one of the few errant throws thrown at the feet of Daniel George.
Yeah, he wasn't able to step into that throw. The pressure, the pocket got pushed back into his lap, and he wasn't able to step into that and make an accurate throw.
This is likely not field goal range. Stout has a huge leg. He kicked the 57-yarder earlier, but in these conditions, I wouldn't think James Franklin would try it from here. Play clock running down on 3rd and 11. Clifford, an adept runner, and it looks like he has the first down. He does. What a call on 3rd and 11. That was pretty clearly a design quarterback run, and it's good for a Penn State first down to the 23.
Sean, I think it might have been a throw option first, because you see Freiermuth is out there as a receiver first. I think Clifford just made the decision he could get the first down. He is a very adept, productive runner.
Well, he leads their team in rushing attempts for the season. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. $7-0 Penn State after a quarter. That means now 8 games this season without allowing a touchdown in the first quarter for Penn State. Ohio State and Wisconsin play each other today. Neither team scored in the first quarter of that game. The Buckeyes win. So 3 teams left that have not allowed a first quarter touchdown this season. First play of the second quarter, it's Hamler out of bounds. Chased out by David Dowell, the safety. Brother Andrew was a 3-year starter at linebacker, and they have another brother, Michael, who's a freshman backup safety on this Spartan team.
Great family. Met his mom and dad and on all the boys several years ago at the Ohio High School State Basketball Tournament.
Fake to Journey Brown, strike down the middle. Freiermuth, touchdown. Well, he gets compared a lot to Rob Gronkowski, the number 87. The fact that he's from New England and Freiermuth looked like it there. caught the ball inside the 5 and was not going to be denied shy of the goal line, and it's 13-0 Nittany Lions.
Does a great job of avoiding Tyreek Thompson, the linebacker, just slipped behind him, and the ball delivered perfectly timing-wise by Sean Clifford before Freiermuth got to the safeties. Big day so far for Sean Clifford and for his tight end Freiermuth.
High snap, and Jake Pinniger misses the extra point. Chris Stoll is the snapper. It was a little bit high. Looked like Brake Gillikin got it down, but it certainly threw off the operation. And Pinniger, who had made 48 straight PATs, has his first miss of the season. Doesn't get anything for hitting the pole that supports the field goal net. And there's a chat, Coach Franklin, and the first-year snapper Chris Stoll out of Westerville, Ohio. Fortunately, the only time the snappers get noticed is usually when there's a problem with the snap. I don't know, wet day might have affected him as well. So 13-0 for the Nittany Lions, and no sign of a letdown. You think it helped them psychologically, Todd, knowing that Michigan State beat them each of the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think it absolutely did. You know, and they recognize they're a physical team. They play well at home. This is a very good, fast start for the visiting Penn State team.
Darrell Stewart will let Jordan Stout's kickoff go. It'll be a touchback, and we check in back in the studio with Kevin Nagandi. How about the Golden Gophers? They're 7-0. They haven't been 8-0 since 1941. They haven't been 5-0 in the Big Ten since 1961.
And that would be Penn State's opponent next week. So, I mean, you know, this tough stretch for Penn State just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Brian Lewerke, like Clifford, can hurt you with his ability to run, and he slides ahead 4-3. Well, with Oklahoma going down today, now there are 9 remaining undefeated teams, and 3 of them are in the Big Ten: Ohio State, Penn State, and Minnesota.
Boy, Ohio State looked good today. I mean, that's the first I got to watch a lot of them. I watched them on film against Michigan State. They are one heck of a football team.
They beat Wisconsin 38-7. Lewerke crowded as he tried to throw to Reese Nelson, and it's incomplete. And you kind of have a feeling this is the danger zone already for Michigan State in this game. Dreadful on offense for a lot of the year, particularly in their last outing. And this is not the start that Coach D'Antonio had in mind after a week off.
Well, they've only scored, I think, 3 points in the last 12 quarters. And that's kind of the same kind of script right now. And really, that guy has to make the difference. Lewerke has to play well for them to have a shot.
They've gone more than 110 minutes of game action without scoring. Lewerke's throw is high and incomplete. Looking for Darrell Stewart, the leading receiver in the Big Ten, with 46 catches coming in. John Reed, the injured player for Penn State.
Defense.
Starting cornerback, 5th-year senior out of Mount Laurel, New Jersey. 13:48 to go, second quarter, 13-0 Nittany Lions. ABC and the ESPN app. 7:30 Eastern time. Number 8 Notre Dame, number 19 Michigan. Saturday Night Football presented by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. We're about 66 miles away from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. Some members of our production team will be driving down there to catch the game tonight in person. Ryan Hoff, Private Jet Lou Russo, and the birthday boy Ben Ward, celebrating his 40th birthday today down in the truck. Happy birthday, Ben. Jake Hartbarger. End over end punt, fair catch. KJ Hamler at the 31-yard line. With a flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
Eagle formation on the kicking team. Number 34. The 5-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the kick. First down.
The Penn State coaches think their tight end, Pat Freiermuth, is the best tight end in the country, and he's off to a great start today. You see him in one-on-one coverage. He isolates the linebacker. Nice quick move to get separation. This was the touchdown, his first touchdown. An incredible throw by Sean Clifford right to the front pylon. He runs under it, and then the last touchdown, again, working between the linebackers and the safety. He's a big, reliable target. That's 23 catches on the season, 6 of them for touchdowns. He's only 1 touchdown reception behind their big star, K.J. Hamler.
And with the 2 touchdowns today, he has 14 for his career. Now, bear in mind, he's a sophomore. The Penn State tight end record is 15 for a career by Mike Gesicki. So he's going to shatter that. Sophomore out of Merrimack, Massachusetts, in the Brooks School, where his cousin Pat Foley was his high school coach. Ricky Slade, sophomore out of Woodbridge, Virginia, head to the 38-yard line. There's another injured player on the field. This time it's a Spartan. It's Tyreek Thompson, strong side linebacker. His senior year out of Detroit. Speaking of Michigan, 66 miles down the road, Tyreek's dad Clarence was an all Big Ten safety at Michigan back in 1995. Got drafted by the Colts. That's got to be a little tough when your dad played at Michigan and you come to Michigan State, or vice versa. Usually you're on one side or the other in this state. Let's take a look at this week's rankings, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. And they will look quite a bit different when we take a look at them next week, with Oklahoma defeated today in Manhattan by Kansas State. Ohio State an easy winner. A lot of people think if LSU wins convincingly against Auburn, they could jump to number 1 with the resume that they have erected. Dumped off for Slade, and he gets dumped well behind the line of scrimmage. Xavier Henderson, sophomore from Reynoldsburg, Ohio, their first-year starter at safety, made the play.
Well, and that's a good sign for their defense, because they need Henderson to play well. They think he's very talented. He's had some problems tackling at the second level of the defense. That's a good open field tackle by the young safety.
It's interesting. We spoke with Joe Bocci, the middle linebacker, one of their captains, yesterday, about what they need to do to improve on defense. He said a number of things, but he specifically mentioned Henderson needs to be more reliable at safety. Short throw and catch by Daniel George, but he's well short of the first down at the 41-yard line. That'll bring up 4th down and 5.
Well, Chris Stoll will get a chance to snap another one here. A little bit longer on the punt snap. And again, with weather like this, every snap, you just can't take anything for granted, snapping or catching the ball.
Solid snap there. Line drive kick by Gillikin. Brandon Sowards from his own 10. Boy, Penn State's covered the punts well today. Just a 3-yard return after a 48-yard punt.
Timeout.
College football, presented by TrackPhone on ABC, is brought to you by Pacific Life. 150 years strong. Protection and retirement solutions for your future. Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. And the all-new 2020 Lincoln Aviator.
We're told those young women are Michigan State art students, so it's not a surprise that they did such an excellent job with the pumpkin carving. I know that's one of your hobbies.
I've carved a few pumpkin in my day.
Michigan State from its own 13, trailing 13-0 here in the early stages of the second quarter. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe in East Lansing. Design run for Brian Lewerke, and a nice play across the 25. And a first down for Michigan State.
Yeah, this is a lot of teams do this. You fake the jet sweep, you pull the guard around. It's a quarterback power run, and Lewerke does a nice job getting a first down. This has to be where he shows up now, Sean, for Michigan State. He's got to throw the football. Similar to the game you said with Wisconsin, he had trouble in the wind. Jack Cohn didn't. Sean Clifford's not having any trouble in the rain. Brian Lewerke has to throw the ball better. He's 1 for 5 so far.
For 8 yards, hands it off to Brandon Wright, the true freshman, with his first career touch. And he gets about 5. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, some injury situations right now. Michigan State's running back, Elijah Collins, was taken to the locker room briefly during the last series. He just came out and rejoined the team. He's got his helmet on the sideline, but he's not re-entered the game right now. And then John Reed for Penn State. Their defensive back was over here on the bike. He's been evaluated. It is on the bike trying to loosen something out. Neither team gives injury updates, so that's the best we can observe right now.
Yeah, Trent Gordon is now in at corner in place of the veteran John Reed, number 19 there.
Gordon's played in every game but one, and he's in on this tackle there, number 19, as Brandon Wright gets the call again. There's Reed trying to get loose. And Brandon Wright, true freshman out of Euclid, Ohio. As we mentioned, he had not played in a game prior to today, but with the lack of depth at running back, now that they feel like he's learned their offense and the system, they feel comfortable putting him in the game.
He's a little bigger back than the guys in front of him, 6'2", 223 pounds. As just a freshman, he's going to be bigger and stronger the more he's here as well.
And he's actually benefited from Connor Hayward and Ladarius Jefferson jumping into the transfer portal. There's Darrell Stewart with a first down grab out to the 41-yard line. When those other running backs left, that gave Wright more reps in practice.
3 receivers in a bunch formation. Nice job that time by Stewart finding the hole in the defense. Penn State's primarily a zone coverage defense, and Stewart did a nice job of reading the coverage, sitting down for his quarterback, and a little momentum now for Michigan State's offense.
And Elijah Collins is back in at running back. They go to the pistol, and he's in trouble. Micah Parsons again drops it for a loss of about a half yard on the play.
You can't dance against this defense. They're too fast. And Micah Parsons, who's right here in the middle, we already said he gets to the line of scrimmage so quickly. You can't hesitate or dance or try to bounce against this defense. They're way too fast.
It's scary how good he is, and he keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons. They bring pressure. Lewerke got it off. Larice Nelson ducks down at the 44. Here's Kevin Nakandi. Huge game there in the SEC.
I've done that game several times. It is one of the hardest hitting football games that year in and year out. When Auburn and LSU play, it is a physical game.
3rd and 7. Lewerke moves to his right, running out of time, throws, and there is a flag. There are now several flags. Pass intended for Darrell Stewart.
Well, that's a good break for Michigan State. Trent Gordon, the guy who's in for John Reed, is the guilty party here. I'm not sure that pass was going to be a pass that Stewart was going to get to or not, but I think there was clearly contact by Trent Gordon.
Pass interference. Defense, 19. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
Lewerke leaves the pocket, tries to extend the play. That's not the penalty there. It was going to be afterwards as he tried to break back out. I guess you could have called it. Yeah, you could have called it several times on that play. There's the left arm wrapped around him.
Vitor Gross Matos with the hit on Lewerke. That was very close to being worthy of a flag. So Michigan State at the Penn State 42. 8.5 to go in the half. 13-0 Nittany Lions. Elijah Collins. Powerful run. And he's inside the 36-yard line, tackled by Cam Brown. This season, Taco Bell is celebrating student sections. These fans, believe us, are passionate. They're just cold and wet. They're awarding the Live Moss Student Section of the Year. The Spartan Student Section's already on the watch list, and that's good because that wasn't so passionate what we just saw. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell. See how your school can compete. Get the committee's attention. Use hashtag Live Moss Student Section Contest.
A nice run by Collins. They got an excellent block by Matt Seibert on Micah Parsons.
Collins dropped for no gain. It's Cam Brown again, having an excellent senior season. He's on the field a lot. Brent Pry, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday we need to play him less. He played 70 snaps last week against Michigan.
Well, and he plays those snaps so hard. I mean, he really throws his body around. He plays both linebacker positions, and you see him getting subbed out here on this third down play.
Third down and 4.
I think this is 2-down territory for Mark D'Antonio's team. They cannot afford to get too much further behind in this game.
Brent Pry brought pressure. The ball thrown up for grabs. It's caught by Brandon Sowers. Was he in bounds? No, they say he was juggling the ball as he went across the boundary and didn't hang on.
Working against Lamont Wade in coverage. It's good coverage in the slot there by Wade. Yeah, you can see that ball bobbling as he went to the ground. I think this is a good call. It was actually deflected by Wade and not cleanly caught as Sowers was going to the ground.
So it's 4th down and 4, and as you suggested, it is 4-down territory for Michigan State.
Well, their go-to guy all season has been Stewart. That's him right here, 25.
Play clock an issue. They snap it with 1. The catch made wasn't a perfect throw, but Cody White snatched it out of midair for a Spartan first down to the 27-yard line.
Got a little separation. Cody White's a big target, does a nice job getting inside of the coverage and making the big catch on 4th down.
He's 6'3", 215.
I think you got to go back to Stewart. Again, Trent Gordon, the backup, is down here. That's your matchup down here. If you get it isolated without safety help, that's where you want to go with the football.
Ball control drive here. Elijah Collins, the ball carrier. That's one of the problems, don't you think, Todd, with this offense? Not a lot of explosive playmakers at wide receiver or at running back.
Yeah, they don't have that. Now, one guy that they did have when they started the season, Jalen Naylor, was a wide receiver they thought was going to be kind of their speed guy. He has a lower leg injury after the first game, and they think they're going to get him back at some point. But he was the guy that could be like the K.J. Hamler type receiver that Penn State has.
Yeah, deep shots and jet sweeps. He broke his foot in the opener. Lewerke down the middle and off the hands of Stewart in the end zone.
This might be a targeting call, too, on Jan Johnson. I mean, he came in with a hit after the ball was knocked away. This is kind of a Tampa 2 coverage with the middle linebacker running back to cover the middle.
Jerry McGinn, the referee, was in the Big East for a long time, and when that league dissolved, he wound up in the Big Ten. Not surprising, he'd find a home. He's one of the best.
Jan Johnson, kind of the heart and soul of this defense, the leader right in the middle.
Fouls on the play by both teams. Holding, offense, number 89. Personal foul, targeting, defense, number 36. Those fouls will all set. The targeting foul is under further review.
By Dennis Lipsky, long time on the field referee, now in the replay booth.
Well, there's the hold by the tight end, Matt Dotson, who stayed in. Ooh. And there's the second foul. It's a defenseless player, the receiver going up for the football.
Well, let's bring in our rules expert, longtime Big Ten on the field referee, Bill Lamagna. What do you think, Bill?
I understand from the angle the official throwing the flag, but the view we have here, I see the head to the side, more to the shoulder. I don't see it hitting him in the head neck area, and his head comes forward first. If you get hit in the head neck area, your head's going to twist to the side or go back. I really would reverse this if I was the replay official.
And Bill, the officials on the field are told if there's any question, throw the flag and then let replay deal with it, correct?
That's correct. That's pretty much been the philosophy across the country.
Even the forearm shot looks like it's more in the chest area than the head and neck area.
Exactly. Because he's defenseless. If you hit him in the head neck area with your helmet, with your forearm, with a fist, you can have a targeting call.
Yeah.
But those things didn't happen on this play. Close, but didn't happen.
We'll see if Jerry McGinn agrees. This is a crucial decision. We visited with Brent Pry yesterday, the defensive coordinator for Penn State. He said Jan Johnson is really the glue of our defense. He's the one who gets them lined up.
It's a further review. Number 36 was the targeting. There is no targeting. That would be picked up. A holding on the offense. Number 89. That will be enforced. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
And I think we all agree they got it right.
Yeah.
After the review. There's Brent Pry. Started to grow his annual midseason beard. Says his wife Amy and his daughters don't like it very much, but the players do. Excellent coach. You start to read this time of the year articles. Who are the hot assistant coaches who are likely to get looks when head coaching jobs are open, and his name is in a lot of those articles.
Well, he comes from a coaching family. His dad was a longtime coach, kind of grew up in it and loves it.
Yeah,
but he also loves where he's at right now.
He sure does. Said, I have a great job. His dad, Jim Pry, was offensive coordinator at East Stroudsburg when James Franklin was the quarterback there in the early and mid-90s. Lewerke taken down by Shaka Toney at the 35-yard line. They need to reach the 17 for a first down. So it's third down and 18 as we approach 5 minutes to go in the half. Well, not really in field goal range right here.
And if you're Brian Lewerke right here, you're thinking half the yardage, because again, it's you can't afford to try to beat Penn State with field goals. So get half of this 3rd and 18. Give yourself a chance on 4th down.
Setting up a screen, lobbed ahead to Elijah Collins. Breaks a couple of tackles. Well, they got about half of it, Todd. Maybe a little less than that. It certainly made it much more manageable on 4th down and 10. They also did get into field goal range. So here comes Matt Coughlin.
And now Trent Gordon is down. So John Reed was replaced by Trent Gordon. Trent Gordon is now down on the field. They do have some depth. They've got a couple young freshmen in Keaton Ellis and Marquise Wilson that they're really high on. Probably going to see more of them tonight here before this one's done.
Back in rainy East Lansing, Michigan State trying to get on the board. Shut out in their last game 2 weeks ago at Wisconsin. Shut out to this point today. Here's Matt Coughlin. He's had a strange year. Started out great, made his first 7. He's 4 out of 10 since. And that one is blocked. Shaka Toney swatted it out of the air, and Keaton Ellis picks it up. He gets yanked down on the near sideline.
Shaka Toney just got skinny and got right through the gap. I mean, it wasn't even close. He's lined up inside. Here he is right here. He's just going to get right through this gap and get a clean shot to the ball. Watch him turn sideways, get skinny, get that left arm up. That's just poor protection up front by Michigan State.
We have to wonder what number 79, Mustafa Khalifa, was doing. He started to block him, and then it's almost as if he felt like I blocked him long enough when clearly he had not. They've done well blocking kicks. Penn State's blocked 3 punts this season to lead the country. Now they block a Coughlin field goal. Hard to blame him for that one. Devin Ford comes in at running back now. He stays in to block for Sean Clifford, whose pass is through the hands of K.J. Hamler.
Sean Clifford is throwing the football well, though. I mean, that ball is coming out of his hands quickly. He's throwing tight spirals. He's throwing with accuracy. You know, they've talked about, and James Franklin told us he wants to see more consistency out of his offense. I think this is as consistent as they have looked over the course of 2 quarters here. They look pretty good right here.
Look for 10 out of 14, but there have been at least 3 that could have been caught. He's tripped up from behind by Mike Ponashuk, making his 37th career start, alongside Raekwon Williams in the middle of that defensive line, who's also starting for the 37th time. That's a great duo in the middle of that defensive line for Michigan State, the Wolverines, and the Fighting Irish tonight. It's going to be a chilly and rainy night in Ann Arbor as well. Devin Ford remains the running back. The other 3 in the rotation have all had a carry today.
You wonder if Willikis can get something going for this Michigan State defense.
Got a good jump. Then a good job to get back and block him by Will Fries. And now Clifford stood up short of the first down marker by Trey Person, backup free safety out of Atlanta. And Clifford sore and grabbing at his left shoulder, upper left arm as he gets up.
It's a really good open field tackle by Person, and he just lands right on that left shoulder.
They're a yard short of the first down. It'll be 4th down. They're not in field goal range. They lead 13-0.
And your quarterback is on the sideline right now. And there's your backup quarterback,
Will Levis,
who doesn't have his helmet on. So well, here comes Clifford back. So we'll see. Probably taking a timeout right now.
Penn State,
yeah, good call.
It will be extended for a media timeout.
Stay tuned for the Capital One halftime report with Kevin Nagandi, Jonathan Vilman, Mark Sanchez. I almost feel compelled to suggest to these 2 people the game is on TV. You might want to go home and catch the second half. Maybe you can get home in time to catch Kevin, Jonathan, and Mark with the halftime show. 4th and 1, they're going for it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to go for it. Your offense is moving pretty well, and your defense has played their typical shutout type self.
They're at the Spartan 45-yard line, 2:38 to go in the half. Journey Brown got the first down to the 44 before he was driven back.
Now I think you get really aggressive and you go for it here. Maybe take a shot on this play. I mean, you got plenty of time before half, but another touchdown here is it could shut the door on Michigan State, the way their offense has struggled over the last several games.
Well, if Michigan State doesn't score in the remaining 2.5 minutes, it will be 8 consecutive scoreless quarters. They bring a blitz here. Clifford off his back leg, incomplete for KJ Handler. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, after that emotional whiteout last night, a big win over Michigan, James Franklin said he was a little concerned that there might be some, rebounds, some hangover a little bit. He said we actually backed off things a little bit at practice, eliminated some of the difficult periods, made things a little bit easier. But he said our force plate numbers, which is a measurement that measures how they produce force off the ground, said they were really good Tuesday and Wednesday. They don't look hungover at all.
Devin Ford bounces outside, inside the 30 and down inside the 25-yard line. Their flags thrown at the end of the run. David Dowell made the tackle. So a nice run by the true freshman out of Stafford, Virginia, Devin Ford.
They might get a hold on Freiermuth. Watching the replay.
Holding. Offense. Number 5. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the infraction. Just played it down.
Wide receiver Jahan Dotson blocking on Josiah Scott. There it is right there. That hand gets on the back of the jersey. You're going to get called every time, especially with a white glove on the green jersey. You got to keep those hands inside. You can grab inside, but that hand gets around the back. Going to get called every time out on the perimeter.
It's interesting. We spoke with Ricky Ronnie, the offensive coordinator for Penn State. One of the things he said about Dotson when we went through the depth chart was that he's a tremendous and spirited blocker. At just 175 pounds. Clearly a hold that time. The fake to Devin Ford. RPO. It's KJ Hamler for the first down. Tackled at the 27 by Josh Butler. Now, if you were Penn State here, would you slow down a little bit? I know you could leave Michigan State perhaps a lot of time on the clock, and they still might not score the way they're playing.
No, I'd just go as fast as you could go right here, and maybe even get it back another time before half.
Clifford on the run, wide open. KJ Hamler, touchdown, Penn State.
You know, I think KJ Hamler changed his route. Watch him in the crossing route. Instead of going straight across where he could get picked up by linebackers, he goes deeper. And Clifford saw it. They made the adjustment on the fly, and they got the touchdown on the back end of it. Really nice adjustment on that crossing route. He gained depth as he crossed the middle of the field, and he was wide open.
I'm surprised they're going for two here. They had a missed extra point on a high snap, but usually this early first half you don't, as they say, chase the point. But they're going to go for two. Devin Ford remains the running back. And to get a carry for all four of their running backs in the rotation. Quarterback draw. And as we said, definitely go for two in this situation. Sean Clifford runs it in.
Really nice job by the center. Got the lead block on the linebacker, Tyreek Thompson. You got to show the draw a little bit, but watch the center get the key block right here. Devin Ford is going to be a lead blocker as well. And Clifford does a nice job following it in. But the touchdown was a thing of beauty. The combination that we've seen all year, the 8th time they've connected for a touchdown. Sean Clifford to the crossing KJ Hamler. And a nice homecoming present for those 30 people that came from the Pontiac area to see their favorite player.
And that is now at least one catch of 20 yards in 11 straight games for KJ Hamler. We talk about making big plays. That's the longest such streak in the country. Taylor Gabriel of UCF has a chance to match that tonight at Temple. That's 7 o'clock on ESPN2. He's also had a 20-yard play in the 20-yard catch in 10 straight games.
He's a difference maker. You know, that's what separates the great teams from the good teams in college football, is if you have guys that can change the game. And he is a game changer.
Here's Darrell Stewart. Out to the 24-yard line.
You know, I've seen this kid play a lot, and he reminds me of Percy Harvin, who played for Urban Meyer a few years ago in Florida. First of all, just the breakaway speed. You see it with both Harvin and Hamler. Then the ball skills, the ability to make contested catches, and then the elusiveness, the ability to make people miss that both of these guys have. They both wear jersey number 1, but I'll tell you what, those comparisons and the similarities go a lot further than that number 1 on the jersey. KJ Hamler, known as the human joystick, and he makes things happen.
Brian Lewerke on first down. Trey Mosley the catch. It's the first catch of his career. He's a true freshman from the same hometown as KJ Hamler. He's from Pontiac, Michigan. So Hamler, too, taught exactly what Michigan State is lacking. That explosive big play maker. Has to make it even that much more painful as Collins carries for a first down for Mark D'Antonio, because Mark D'Antonio told us yesterday we thought he was coming to Michigan State.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised after getting that first down that Michigan State not using a timeout here. They have all 3, and they're just letting the clock run down.
Like his intended target slipped. Matt Seibert, one of the tight ends, he was also indicating they might have gotten held. It was kind of a tough break for Mark D'Antonio. We asked KJ Hamler yesterday, why didn't you go to Michigan State after being committed for about 2 years? And he said the big reason why was he had some friends who were already at Michigan State who were kind of heading in the wrong direction. And he didn't want to drift into trouble by hanging around with the wrong crowd. So he thought it was better to get away and go to Penn State. That was one of the reasons. Yeah. But obviously, that's a tough break in a lot of ways for Michigan State.
Well, I think the other thing, and we've talked about this with KJ Hamler, he and Sean Clifford met each other early on. They went to some camps together. They developed a bond, a friendship, and I think the idea of playing together in college became very attractive to KJ Hamler as well.
Dumped off to Elijah Collins. He stopped short of the first down. Micah Parsons in on it again with Keaton Ellis. And Michigan State will use its first timeout.
Timeout. Michigan State, they're first at the half. Be a 30-second charge, timeout.
Kick off your Week 8 NFL Sunday with the Countdown Crew on ESPN and the ESPN app. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Our Sunday NFL Countdown Crew will have all the early breaking stories and previews. Then we'll cap off Week 8 of the NFL's 50th season of Monday Night Football on ESPN. ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app with the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Monday Night Countdown kicks off the coverage at 6 p.m. Eastern. Miami looking for its first win, and Pittsburgh in dire need of a win at 2-4. Trying to enhance its playoff hopes. Last time they met on Monday Night Football was in 2007, and the Steelers won 3-0 on a rainy night at Heinz Field. The field was a mess. It was the lowest scoring game in Monday Night Football history. So that's interesting. You use a timeout to punt. Now, bear in mind, they love fake punts and fake field goals. It looked like they might have drawn Penn State offside. Very late flags come flying out. 3 of them now.
Offside. Defense, number 11. Causing the offense to move. The 5-yard penalty will result in the first down.
Well, now you got 25 seconds and 2 timeouts. So you got time for a couple plays. You got those timeouts so you can throw the football anywhere on the field if you're Brian Lewerke. And if you're Mark D'Antonio, you're wondering, well, the last time we tried to get in field goal range, we got it blocked. I don't know if that's a high percentage thing right now for you. But you do want to try to get some points on the board here if you can. You're going to get the ball to start the third quarter, but you need some momentum to take into the locker room with you.
Lewerke flush to his right, throws on the run, looking for Trenton Gillison, a tight end, and it's incomplete.
Well, I don't see Darryl Stewart on the field for Michigan State either. Their top receiver is not even on the field.
And the leading receiver in the Big Ten starting today. He's had just 1 catch today, and he's over there by their bench. Lewerke over the middle, caught by Matt Dotson as he fights. The clock runs.
Timeout. Michigan State. They're second and a half.
They'll mark the ball at the 44-yard line. 11 seconds to go in the first half.
For Michigan State, their leading receiver, Stewart, just took himself out of this game after that last kick return. He was hurt in the pile after he caught that kick. He limped off the sideline, took himself out, and he has not been in at all on this series, Todd.
Yeah, limping. I mean, that's just not good at all for Michigan State or for him. I mean, he is the go-to guy, and they need somebody to make a play here.
Lewerke, design, roll out, and run. I'm not sure what that gets you. I mean, you have a timeout left, but you're down to 7 seconds. You're not in field goal range.
No, you got to use the timeout and take a shot at the end zone at this point. I mean, you get a little bit of yardage so you can throw the ball to the end zone.
Timeout of the half.
it's an interesting dynamic, and we hear some grumbling after that play from the Spartan fans down below. It's a program that has really struggled on offense, in particular, Todd, the last 2 years. Mark D'Antonio, after last season, under some pressure here locally to make some changes, made changes, but he didn't bring anybody new in. He took the offensive staffs and basically gave each of them a different role. Brad Salem's the new play caller, but whatever they're doing, it's not working.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I think that Mark D'Antonio is a loyal guy. I mean, very much like Jim Tressel, who he worked with at Ohio State. He's loyal to his staff, and so he didn't want to fire anybody. And sometimes, coaches are presented by the administration, hey, we want to keep you, but you got to shake up things on your staff. Well, to him, this was how he shook it up. He shook it up by keeping everybody, but just shaking up the responsibilities. But it has not necessarily paid off to this point yet.
Brad Salem, the new play call of the work. He hit as he wound up to throw. Jason Owe knocked it out. And that's kind of a fitting ending to the half for the Michigan State offense. 8 straight scoreless quarters for Michigan State. They haven't scored since the second quarter of their game against Ohio State back on October 5th. We'll send you to the studio for the Capital One halftime report after this message and a word from our ABC stations. After the play fake, lob for Freiermuth, touchdown Penn State.
Wow, what a throw.
Brown strike down the middle, Freiermuth, touchdown. Clifford on the run, wide open, KJ Hamler, touchdown Penn State. That was a look at some of today's biggest moments of the game, brought to you by Samsung QLED TV. You're watching ESPN College Football presented by TrackPhone, part of Auto Trader Tailgate Week. Well, they're still here. And at the very least, Todd Blackledge, if they choose to sit out here in what is now a cold driving rain, there's plenty of room to move down. I mean, they're in the Bob Uecker seats up there. They're in the second to last row of the upper deck in the corner. I mean, there's plenty of room to move down.
Find some cover somewhere, maybe.
And that's one thing about this stadium. There isn't much of that. Elijah Collins back for the kickoff from Jordan Stout. And the second half doesn't begin very well for Michigan State either. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, welcome back to East Lansing. Impressive Penn State in that first half.
Really, this is a team that just continues to get better. James Franklin wanted to see more consistency from his team, and we're seeing it. We saw them 2 weeks ago at Iowa. They're a better football team. These are horrible conditions. They had over 200 yards of offense. They were efficient, throwing the football, running the football, and their defense just continues to be a dominant defensive group. Very, very impressive first half.
Brian Lewerke on first down. RPO, and it almost wound up as an interception for Tam Brown. Here's a look at today's Pacific Life game summary. And you mentioned the conditions. It hasn't stopped Sean Clifford. 12 out of 17, 3 touchdowns. This was the first one of the game to Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah, beautiful throw there. Then he came back to Freiermuth again, and then his third touchdown to KJ Hamler right before the half. And then again, this Penn State defense, when they get you behind the sticks, when they get you behind the down and distance, they really pressure the quarterback. Outstanding first half.
Elijah Collins, give him credit. How about that effort? Powering the defense backwards, and he came up about a yard shy of the first down. Here's Holly Rowe.
I checked in with Michigan State coach Mark D'Antoni at the half, and he said, we've been moving the ball well at times. We got down into the red zone or into scoring range, and the field goal got blocked. He said that the one thing is our ball is just not coming out well. It's wobbly. We're not throwing the ball as well as we should. Penn State's throwing it well, and we're not. He also said we've got to extend plays a little bit better, and he said we blew the one coverage there on KJ Hamler. Other than that, they had held up pretty good. He said, we just got to keep trying. The good news is they came out of the locker room with a ton of energy, dancing, yelling, screaming. Let's see if they can put it on the field here now.
Certainly helped to convert on 3rd and 1. They go to the air to do it, and they do convert.
I agree 100% with what Mark D'Antonio told Holly, though. I mean, these conditions are affecting both teams and both quarterbacks, and Sean Clifford threw the ball very effectively. And, you know, we met Brian Lewerke yesterday, shook his hand. He's got a huge hand. I mean, I would have thought that he would have had the advantage throwing in these conditions over Sean Clifford, but that has not been the case.
From Phoenix, Arizona, when we visited yesterday, he said he knew, obviously, when he picked Michigan State, that he was going to play in cold weather and wind and rain and perhaps some snow. It is breezy here today, too. That pass is errant, intended for Trenton Gillison.
He said he visited for the spring game back in, 2014? 2014. So it was a beautiful day. But you're right, he knew what he was getting into. Winters and late fall in Michigan.
Certainly he's had a solid career. It was derailed by a shoulder injury last year. Caused him to miss some time last year, and even when he returned, he wasn't fully effective. Elijah Collins, the ball carrier. But he's capable of some big games. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, the last time Penn State was here, Lewerke threw for 400 yards in that game. Second highest total in school history. It's just one of those things where it seems like he's inconsistent. By his own admission yesterday, he owned up to that.
Yeah, and just, again, we talked about it earlier, just the lack of those dynamic guys that can take a short play and turn it into something special. They don't have that. They look kind of plodding offensively.
And an offensive line that's been ravaged by injuries, and the center, Matt Allen, said the other day, we need to start moving the defense off the ball, and they really haven't done that today. Cody White, the intended receiver.
That was almost intercepted.
A couple of near interceptions on that possession. That time was Tariq Castro Fields.
Now, last year, Penn State felt like they dropped 3 interceptions, and they absolutely did in the last possession, 2 or 3 plays before the game-winning touchdown. And, you know, that game got away from them in State College. Lewerke's thrown a couple their way today that they have not been able to bring in.
Last year, Michigan State trailed with 1:19 to go, and they went 76 yards down the field to score a touchdown and win the game. But as you said at the beginning of that drive, there was a dropped interception right in the hands of the Penn State defender. K.J. Hamler, the punt return. Jude Pedroso, the snapper, ran down to make the tackle.
Sean Clifford, 12 of 17 in that first half. He's seeing things really well. Not only is he throwing the ball with accuracy, he's seeing the matchups. He's seeing the coverage. That usually starts with identifying where safeties are. He's doing a nice job spreading the football around, but very quick decisions, extending plays, moving in the pocket when it needs to, and getting the ball in the hands of his playmakers. And he has had an outstanding game so far.
You saw the blown coverage that Mark D'Antonio mentioned to Holly Rowe. Trouble with the snap. And Sean Clifford back on it.
It was a good snap, just a play where, as you see Sean Clifford trying to get one of the referee's towels there, that ball just got away from him. Played at Cincinnati St. Xavier, so he's used to playing late fall and playoff team. There's a team that won the state championship his senior year, so used to playing in some bad weather.
That was an interesting story. He told us they were 5-5.
Yeah.
Made it into the state playoffs and then wound up winning the state title.
Yeah, well, you get into the playoffs in Ohio based on computer rankings and points, and they played such a tough schedule that they had good computer rankings, so they made it in, and then they got hot and knocked off the #1 team, which was Cincinnati Colerain, and kind of never looked back from that point on.
Short completion to Jahan Dotson. 3rd down and 8 here for Penn State. Number 6 in the country, trying to get to 8-0. They're 7-0 for just the 5th time in the Big Ten era. They came into the conference in 1993. The win would keep them tied atop the Big Ten East with Ohio State at 5-0. The Buckeyes an easy win today at home against Wisconsin. Journey Brown tackled by Noah Harvey, a backup linebacker, sophomore from Heartland, Wisconsin. And Penn State will punt.
Pretty conservative call there on 3rd down. I thought they might throw it. Ricky Ronnie changed the play at the line of scrimmage, went with the run, thought they could slip Journey Brown in for the first down, came up short.
Well, don't you think conservative is probably best under these conditions, and with a 3-touchdown lead against a team that hasn't scored in 8 quarters now?
Yeah.
Gillikin, the punt. It is muffed by Brandon Sowards. And the Nittany Lions have it at the 6-yard line.
It was a terrific punt by Gillikin, first of all.
And why are you trying to catch it on your 5-yard line?
Sowards is on his 5-yard line, and I'm sure that he was thinking that as well, that he had already made a mistake. And then he made a second mistake.
The ruling on the field was a fumble.
Is that Chisena that got the football? Chisena? He is always the first guy down there with that track speed.
Look from the Progressive Pylon camera. Chisena, 5th-year senior, just put on scholarship this year. He had a nice spring game, the blue and white game, caught a touchdown pass, and they told him after the game, and by the way, we're also going to have a scholarship. From Downingtown, PA.
That was a terrific punt. Really a terrific punt.
First and goal from the 6. Looking for the first points of the second half, and they have them. Freiermuth, the touchdown. His 3rd of the game. 4 catches, 3 of them for touchdowns.
This is such a tough thing to defend because they run the inside zone so much. And when they run that, they'll bring him over and block. This time they're going to fake the inside zone, and the tight end just continues out into the route. It really looks just like the run when it starts off. Well executed by Freiermuth and Sean Clifford. And that's been a dangerous combination today for the Penn State offense.
Jake Pinniger, the extra point. This one's good.
Penn State went conservative on 3rd down, punted to play defense, and it worked out even better. They got the turnover, and then the next play, another touchdown for the Nittany Lions.
In rainy East Lansing, this family members and close friends here, as Penn State has opened up a 28-0 lead for James Franklin, on their way to moving into the top 5 in the country, you would think, in the rankings when they come out. After Oklahoma, ahead of them to start the week, lost earlier today at Kansas State. Here's Julian Barnett with the kickoff return for Michigan State, and he got smacked down at the 25. As we honor those who serve, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Here's a look at Michigan State quarterback Brian Lewerke. He told us yesterday about a great experience he had this summer at Camp Pendleton, Commander Camp. He was one of 15 quarterbacks across the nation who attended a week-long camp with Marines, Navy SEALs, other soldiers, leading about leadership skills, going through physical and mental challenges and training. And he said it was quite an experience landing on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
He said the first time they went to land, they flew about 200 miles out to sea. The rope there didn't catch, so it was a touch and go. And I asked him, were you particularly happy when it caught the second time? He said, yes, I was quite happy to have landed. So what a great experience that was. Elijah Collins on first down got a yard for Michigan State. Impressive young man, Brian Lewerke. We talk about leadership skills, part of that commander camp. He's on target there to Trey Mosley. He's a 2-time captain.
Yeah.
The only other quarterback in Mark D'Antonio's 13 years to be a 2-time captain was Kirk Cousins. Did it 3 times. There have only been 6 players over D'Antonio's tenure here who have been captains more than once. Lewerke's one of them. Third down and 2. Elijah Collins. has the first down. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, there is a good legacy of quarterbacks here at Michigan State, and Kirk Cousins actually came back this summer, got all the quarterbacks into a meeting room, and Brian Lewerke said it was really cool. He talked to them about what he's learned in the NFL, how he prepares. They asked him what he does for his film study, but more important, he said, what have you learned that's the most important thing? And Kirk Cousins said being resilient. We saw him in a big Thursday night win for the Minnesota Vikings. He certainly has been resilient, and that's something Brian Lewerke wants to do as well.
Yeah, they went through some difficulty earlier in the year. And Cousins rallied. They're playing offense as well as anybody. Lewerke, fortunate that wasn't picked off by Micah Parsons in the general direction of Matt Seibert, but that's when Parsons looked like he should have intercepted.
Yeah, this was thrown right to number 11. Had to jump a little bit, but got both hands on it, not able to bring it in. The ball came kind of wobbling out of the hand. Not a solid, confident throw that time by Lewerke, and very lucky it wasn't picked off. There's a good
tackle game for Parsons today. Seibert tackled by Parsons, so that's 11 tackles for Micah. And it is a first down for Michigan State. The Spartans out to their 47-yard line.
Officials time. Injured player.
Seibert slow to get up. Interesting story. A guy who originally transferred from Buffalo, came here as a walk-on, played defensive end last year, had a great year as a tight end so far this year.
Now it's time for the Aflac trivia question. It's a good day for Duck here at East Lansing. We want to know which Big Ten coach has the most 10-win seasons all time. We could cheat and look that up. I do know one of the things that impressed me as we were preparing for the game, researching Mark D'Antonio's success here at Michigan State. He has had 6 10-win seasons. There are only 6 coaches in the history of the Big Ten who have had 6 or more 10-win seasons, and he's one of them. Brian Lewerke on 1st and 10. Deep ball, man open. They finally hit a big play, but there is a flag down. Cody White will have 1st and goal for Michigan State if the play stands. But there's a flag down back of the line of scrimmage. And it's offside against Penn State, so it's going to stand.
Tariq Castro Fields was the corner in coverage.
Defense, number 49. Penalties decline. First down.
They did a couple good things here. First of all was play action. Then they moved the pocket. And here's the route. He gets by Castro Fields, uses his strength. The safety Sutherland was late getting over to help. And it's a big play for this Michigan State offense. Good play call also by Brad Salem to move the quarterback to give him some time to make that throw down the field.
8 straight quarters without scoring. That ball dropped by Anthony Williams. And they add to their nation-leading drop total. And the team leader in drops, also the Big Ten leader in receptions. Darrell Stewart nowhere to be seen on the field, so apparently he's out for the day. He was limping along the sideline in the first half when he came out. Option, Lewerke pitches it. Touchdown, Anthony Williams. First career touchdown for the true freshman from Chicago, who enrolled in the spring and got here in time for spring practice.
Really good job by Lewerke, waiting to the last minute to make that pitch. He read the linebacker, Brandon Smith, number 12. As we take a look at it from the Progressive Pylon cam, last minute pitch, well-executed speed option, and Michigan State with a long-awaited touchdown.
Their first points since the second quarter of their game against Ohio State on October 5th. There was a bye week in there. They've gone more than 8 quarters without scoring. Matt Coughlin the extra point. And the Spartans are on the board midway through the third quarter. And a thrill for Anthony Williams, true freshman with just 19 carries through the first 7 games of the season. His first career touchdown. Well, let's answer the Aflac trivia question.
Aflac.
You want to know which Big Ten coach has the most 10-win seasons of all time? Do you want to hazard a guess?
No, go ahead.
I'll give you a clue. Bo Schembechler. Actually, that was the answer. And we mentioned D'Antonio, one of 6 Big Ten coaches to have at least 6 10-win seasons. Schembechler had 11 of them.
Huh.
The others, Joe Paterno, Urban Meyer, Lloyd Carr. There's Cole Haan for kickoff. Great name for a guy who used his shoes to do his job. KJ Hamler swung down at the 22-yard line. Boomer and TJ on NFL Primetime Sunday, 7:30, only on ESPN Plus. All the highlights, breakdowns for the day's games. Only they can do it. Scott Van Pelt and Joe Tessitore also a part of it. To get ESPN Plus, download the app. Go to ESPNplus.com.
Well, let's see if the Michigan State defense can respond after their offense drives the ball down and gets a score.
That muff punt looms as a very big play. There's Ricky Slade bursting through a nice hole, and he's out for about 8 on first down.
Nice block by Freiermuth, the tight end. He's not really known for his blocking. He's obviously known more as a receiver, but did a nice job leading up inside on that particular run.
3 touchdown catches today for Pat Freiermuth. Ricky Slade trying to get outside, breaks tackles, and has the first down. With those 3 touchdown receptions, Freiermuth now has 15. Now, bear in mind, he's in the middle of his sophomore season. 15 ties the Penn State career record for touchdown catches by a tight end with Mike Gesicki. He has a lot of college career left, as Pat Freiermuth. 1st and 10, 6.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Penn State trying to get to 8-0. Here's Freiermuth again, bumped out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Here's today's player spotlight, brought to you by Wrangler, and it is Pat Freiermuth with 5 receptions now on 5 targets for a total of 60 yards and the 3 touchdowns. Clifford looking deeper this time. Single coverage. KJ Hamler, the target, and Josiah Scott had good coverage.
Yeah, excellent coverage by Josiah Scott on that one. Trying to stretch the field with Hamler, just a straight go route. He tried to give a little hesitation. Josiah Scott didn't buy it at all. In perfect position and makes a play on the football.
Clifford 3 for 3 on 3rd down. He doesn't have his favorite target on the field on this 3rd down. Hamler out of the game. Ricky Slade, the running back. Clifford forced back, running out of time, heaves it up for grabs. Bad decision, and it's intercepted by David Dow. And he's wrestled down at the 31-yard line. Well, so after throwing 4 touchdown passes, he throws his first interception of the game in just the 3rd of the season.
Well, you call it a bad decision, and he has not made any bad decision today. And one of the best things that Penn State has done this season and in this win streak is not turn the ball over. That's just their 7th turnover of the season, and this one should have been avoided for sure.
You are watching the Big Ten on ABC from Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. Rain started right around kickoff, and it is a cold, miserable, rainy day here in the capital of the great state of Michigan. Brian Lewerke fires, And is that intercepted? No, it hit the ground. Marquise Wilson, the true freshman, thought he might have had the first pick of his career.
I think Penn State thinks they have it.
Well, I saw one official waving it incomplete, but apparently that's not the call.
Again, wobbly, dying pass. It's thrown closer to the defender than the receiver. That's a good interception by Marquise Wilson. We talked to Brent Pry about him yesterday. He said this guy played 18 snaps against Michigan, was an explosive basketball player, has great ball skills. James Franklin said he could probably play wide receiver for us. His ball skills are so good. And he gets his first interception of his career right there.
And Brent Pry talked to us about Wilson yesterday. He's out of Windsor, Connecticut. He has great hips and great feet, but he's kind of a string bean. Needs to add some weight. He's 170 pounds.
Sean, that ball was thrown to him. It wasn't thrown to the Michigan State receiver. Came out of the hand poorly. It was thrown too far inside. You learn as a quarterback, one of the golden rules, you throw outs out. You don't throw them in. Brian Lewerke paid for it. He's had a couple that he's thrown to Penn State today, and that was the first one that they were able to catch.
Lewerke just 12 out of 26 for 128 and an interception. Devin Ford, the running back. Clifford faked to him. Gets stopped after a gain of a couple. Kenny Willekes made the tackle. Nice compliment he was paid yesterday by Ricky Ronnie, the offensive coordinator for Penn State. So Willekes does a great job on those read plays. Makes it very difficult on the quarterback. He said it was quarterback's reading him on the edge there. He's doing a great job of reading the play as well. Makes it very difficult on the quarterback to decide whether to keep it or pitch it.
So what you do is you run away from him, and that's what they did. He made the play coming from the backside on that one.
3rd down and 6. Pressure on Clifford. He got it off and got the first down. To Jahan Dotson. With about a half yard to spare, the 35-yard line, Naquan Jones delivered the pressure on Sean Clifford.
Really nice throw by Clifford under duress. I mean, this is immediate pressure right up the middle by a 330-pound guy. So you know it's going to hurt. You stay in there, you get rid of the football. Good way to bounce back from the INT.
Devin Ford, nowhere to go. Mike Ponashuk made the play.
The thing about these running backs, the good news is by playing 4 and rotating them the way they do, none of them should ever get tired. I mean, they're always going to have fresh legs at any point in the game. And they all do have skill running the football. The one area they all need to get better at is their pass protection. They all kind of turn their shoulders a little bit too much. And even on the interception that Clifford threw, when he had to leave the pocket before he wanted to because Ricky Slade was beat by a linebacker on pass protection.
The play clock at 25 seconds and start on our signal. Thank you.
Ricky Ronnie said yesterday the best pass protector among the running backs is Journey Brown.
Has more game reps, just more live action. A little more physically developed at this point. Been in the program longer.
Clifford, look out. He is wrapped up. Mike Ponashuk first there for the Spartans, and that's a sack back to the 42-yard line.
Ponashuk does a nice job just beating Mike Miranda, the left guard, on that particular play. Here he is right here working on Miranda. Just a power bull rush, gets to the quarterback and wraps him up. Ponashuk doesn't have the stats inside, but he is a force and has been a valuable player for his whole career. Look at the brothers there. Little headbutt from the brother. Love that.
Younger brother Jacob. 2nd sack of the year from Mike Ponashuk. Clifford under duress throws it away in the general direction of Chisena. And Noah Harvey put the pressure on. Looks like a Penn State punt here with 2:24 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Well, let's see if Soward puts those heels on the 10 on this particular punt. Tried to field that one that he muffed inside about the 5-yard line. Which we've talked about that all season. I think the rule of thumb has changed now to the 8.
Yes.
But still not the 5.
Yeah, we asked Kurt Ferentz that a couple weeks ago. When did it change that it was okay to catch a punt inside your own 10? He said, well, the analytics now say the 8 is the right place to do it. Gillikin, nice punt. Are they able to keep it out of the end zone? No, touchback. Of course, they're excited about basketball season. The great Tom Izzo is the head coach, and you mentioned each year at Midnight Madness he comes out in a different outfit. Last night he was the Hulk.
Broke the plane of the end zone to touchback.
#1 in the country
20-yard line, first down.
in the preseason for the first time. Flying their Final Four banner from earlier this year in Minneapolis. And they'll be in action. Tom Izzo is still here.
What a great guy. What a great supporter of Mark D'Antonio, the football program. Unbelievable.
Taking on Kentucky. Elijah Collins, the running back. It's Matt Dotson. Chopped down after a big gainer over the middle out to the 39-yard line. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, we're actually doing that Champions Classic November 5th from Madison Square Garden that you'll see Michigan State in. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in the country in that event, which should be awesome. I actually went to Michigan State practice today, stayed for the entire thing, and they look so good. Of course, Cassius Winston returns. They do have one injury, Joshua Langford, to keep your eye on, but they look pretty good.
Yeah, they were voted #1 for, I think it was announced that Langford was going to miss considerable time. Cam Brown took down Elijah Collins. Now, is it Elijah Collins, we were told, played at the same high school as Cassius?
I believe so, yeah.
Holly would know that.
Yeah, I actually talked to Cassius about it. He played with Elijah Collins, and he said Elijah is a really good basketball player. He probably could have played Division I football or basketball. Cassius said his game is nice.
You asked yesterday, Tada, how many years for this is Cassius in college? He's one of those guys who seems like he's been around for 10 years. Collins, ripped down by Lamont Wade. Long way shy of the line to make. Here's 3rd down and about 12 for Sparty. In the final minute of the 3rd quarter, and Penn State leading 28-7.
Well, this Penn State defense, they haven't gotten a lot of sacks today, but they are one of the leaders in the country in sacks and tackle for loss. They attack the line of scrimmage, and those negative yardage plays that put you behind the sticks like this really play right into their hands.
Lewerke fires on target. Good catch by Trey Mosley. Freshman out of West Bloomfield High School here in the state of Michigan. 14-yard gain. He didn't have a catch all season. He has 3 today, first 3 of his college career, and he's tied for the team leading catches today.
That was a really nice throw by Lewerke. Stepped up in the pocket to avoid the rush, stepped into that throw. They're not going to get the playoff here before the quarter ends.
It is the end of the 3rd quarter. Penn State had a 21-0 lead at the half. They still have a 21-point lead after 3. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ESPN College Football presented by TrackPhone, part of Auto Trader Tailgate Week. Gentleman doing a fine imitation of Bruno Mars as his music plays over the PA system here.
And collecting souvenir cups.
Just catching raindrops in a cup. Driving rain now here in East Lansing. Spartans trying to make a game of it. On the move on the first play of the 4th quarter. Brian Lewerke carries down to the Penn State 42.
Design quarterback draw. Nice job by the center. Matt Allen getting a little block on Micah Parson.
We don't have to think back very far. Penn State seemingly had a comfortable lead last week against Michigan, and then the Wolverines made a game of it and made it anxious for Nittany Lion fans at the end. Matt Dotson, a first down grab.
Well, they scored 21 really quickly, and then they went into it a little bit of a lull, didn't score their fourth touchdown to the fourth quarter. Now, in this case, they scored their fourth touchdown after the muff punt, took advantage of the turnover. Michigan State trying to answer back.
Lewerke's throw too high for Matt Dotson, who has a familiar face over there on that Penn State sideline. Matt Dotson is a good buddy of Sean Clifford, the Penn State quarterback. They played AAU basketball together since they were in grade school, right up through high school. Clifford told us yesterday, Dotson's a very good basketball player and a very funny guy. Young man with a lot of personality.
Dotson played at Cincinnati Moeller High School, which is an arch rival of St. Xavier.
Juggled and dropped. And I have a feeling they're still going to lead the league and lead the country in drop passes when next week's stats come around, because they've had a bunch again today, and it's Elijah Collins upset with himself that he couldn't hang on. Again, kind of a flutter ball.
Yeah, but that one's got to be caught. Brian's thrown a few today that were hard to catch. That one should have been caught. That's just a case of Elijah Collins turning his head away from the ball too quickly to see where he was going to run with it.
Low snap fielded by Lewerke. Look out, he gets hit from behind. The ball's out. And Penn State has it. Ellis Brooks, after Jason Owe knocked it out, went right into the hands of Ellis Brooks, and Penn State takes over on the turnover.
Well, Jason Owe got there first. He knocked the ball out. Then Micah Parsons deflected it, and Ellis Brooks ends it up with it. Watch Owe first. He knocks it out. Then Parsons, actually it went off of Matt Allen, I think the center, and Ellis Brooks able to come down with the interception. There's the hit, the fumble. And off the ricochet, Ellis Brooks. But credit Jason Owe for collapsing the pocket. You know, we talk so much about Shaka Toney and Yetur Gross-Matos, the two starting defensive ends. But Jason Owe is a force in his own right. 6'5", 260-pound, redshirt freshman, excels at rushing the passer. Great speed and explosion. And he got to the quarterback quickly on that one.
Howell, New Jersey, Blair Academy. Always come in on a lot of third downs and pass rush situations. They ruled that a sack and a fumble recovered by Owe, or by Brooks, forced by Owe.
I think there was an unsportsmanlike penalty on a Penn State player after the
you are correct.
After the play was made. That's why they're backed up a little bit further.
Back to the 24-yard line. This one looked like Michigan State had a little something going on offense. Here's the turnover. Journey Brown wrestled down, no gain on the play. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Joe Burrow hasn't had a whole lot of resistance with that offense until they've met this Auburn defense. We saw them earlier in the year. They're the real deal.
They are. We're going to see them again next Saturday night against Ole Miss on ESPN. Deep throw, nowhere near Justin Shorter.
You know, Sean, we were talking about Sean Clifford and winning that state championship his senior year. They ended up beating Cleveland St. Ignatius in double overtime for the state championship. And his younger brother, Liam's a wide receiver at St. X now. They're playing St. Ignatius right now in a regular season game.
Do you have some scores?
I don't have the score yet.
Pacific Life game summary?
I'm saying that so that maybe the guys in the truck will get on that. 13-10 St. Xavier, we've just been told. Is that a final, truck, or final? 13-10 the Bombers.
Sean Clifford's brother Liam this past Sunday committed to Penn State. He's a junior in high school, wide receiver, and a very good one. He's going to follow Sean to Penn State. Nick Bowers weaving his way up the field and into Spartan territory inside the 40. Big completion to one of the backup tight ends, Nick Bowers, 38 yards.
Working on the safety, David Dow. You know, the first game we did against Pitt, when we talked to Ricky Ronnie, he says, you know, we think Fryermuth is the best tight end in the country, but we think Nick Bowers is an NFL caliber tight end as well. We think he'll play at the next level, and showed a little something on that play right there.
He's 2 catches today for 44 yards. Journey Brown skips ahead to the 35-yard line.
You know, really outside of the one bad decision that Sean Clifford made in throwing the interception, this has been just a very methodical, consistent, solid game for Penn State.
Jacob Panashuk still on the field for Michigan State.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
A long way to go till the playoff, but the playoff picture certainly changing.
Yeah.
With Oklahoma's loss today, Penn State poised now to move into the top 5. They started the season number 15 in the preseason rankings and have steadily climbed as they've gone to 7-0 and perhaps on their way to 8-0 with a 21-point lead here and the ball. Sean Clifford just threw it away over the head of K.J. Hamler. Another look at the college football rankings brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. LSU has just taken the lead over Auburn. We're told the extra point was blocked. But Oklahoma, the big story, losing at Kansas State today. Of course, Notre Dame and Michigan tonight. You going to drive down and go to that?
No, I'm going to watch it on TV in the dry and warm. That's what I'm going to do.
Now, I wonder if our 3 team members down to the truck are still planning to go, given this weather. Incomplete pass looking for K.J. Hamler. The birthday boy, Ben Ward, is a big Notre Dame fan. I know he's eager to go, but this will be a test of friendship.
Yeah,
and Ryan
Ryan's
Hoff,
a Notre Damer as well.
Outstanding lacrosse player at Notre Dame. Don't know if Private Jet Lou, who's used to being in a private jet, is going to want to go sit out in Michigan Stadium with no real rooting interest in a driving rain, 40-something degrees. Think of the words of the late, great Judge Smales right now. Don't these people have homes? So they sit out here to watch the end of this game. Fourth down and 7. I think these people are making the most of it. Embrace it. Live in
it. College football on ABC is presented by TrackPhone, the new TrackPhone wireless. Now you're in control. In part by Pacific Life, 150 years strong. Protection and retirement solutions for your future. And Auto Trader, the only one with Kelley Blue Book. Finally, it's easy.
Well, it's tailgating week, and Todd, I don't know if you know this, but legend has it that tailgating started in 1861, had nothing to do with football, according to the American Tailgater Association, of which I'm sure you remember. One of the first documented tailgating events took place during the Civil War. At the start of the Battle of Bull Run, civilians brought food baskets.
I knew that.
And offered encouragement for their side in the ongoing battle.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be just a couple days, the war would be over. They went out like it was a picnic to watch the battle.
Seems quite odd to me. Good punt by Blake Gillikin, and it is downed at the 1-yard line by Drew Hardlob. Wouldn't that seem a little bit dangerous? I mean, let's go watch the war.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, but we believe the football part of it dates back to Princeton and Rutgers in 1869. Now, for your love of food, of course, the Taste of the Town was a big hit. Yeah.
Matter of fact, everywhere we go, people say,
Still ask.
I love you on the Taste of the Town. And it's been how many years since you last did it? 7. But people, they care.
Yeah.
Do you ever get the tailgate? Do you ever get to go to a
Every
game?
now and then. I actually did a couple features at Taste of the Town at tailgates. Did a great one in Alabama for tailgating.
Well, if you do say so yourself.
Yeah.
Humble beast.
I mean, it was great tailgating. My segment was just so-so, but the tailgating was outstanding.
New quarterback Anthony Williams took the handoff from Rocky Lombardi. This is the second game in a row. They had a bye week last week, but their last game against Wisconsin, Rocky Lombardi came in late in the game. Sophomore from Iowa. Matt Dotson the catch. So Brian Lewerke goes 16 for 32. Actually, that's not correct because the official stats monitor is giving these stats on these throws here to Lombardi, apparently not realizing that there is a new quarterback in the game. Third down and 2. 11 minutes to go. Battle for the Land Grant Trophy. Lombardi short over the middle and incomplete. Trying to get it to Julian Barnett. Now this series renewed in 1993. They're going to go for it on 4th and 2 on their inside their own 10. No, here comes the punt team. But the winner of this game, Todd, here's more exciting history that you may not know. Gets the Land Grant Trophy, which I've not seen. Have you seen the Land Grant Trophy?
No, I haven't.
Maybe we'll see it today. It honors the two universities' unique places in history. They are the 2 pioneer land grant schools in the nation. Each of these institutions founded in 1855, within 10 days of each other in February, and they're the prototypes after which the land grant system was patterned. Let's take a look at today's Pacific Life game summary just a nick of time.
Well, you take a look at these two guys, Pat Fryermuth and KJ Hamler. I mean, they have both had nice games. Now, Hamler has not been as effective in terms of catches based on the targets. Fryermuth 5 for 5, but those are the two guys. If you want to stop Penn State, those are the two guys that you got to stop because Sean Clifford is very confident in both of them.
Doing their part to bring the Land Grant Trophy.
I knew you were going back there somehow.
Back to Happy Valley. Always a happier place when the Land Grant Trophy is there. Ricky Slade, the ball carrier. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, the Land Grant Trophy has taken on a life of its own. People like to talk about how just awkward it is. It actually weighs over 70 pounds. You'll see if they bring it out at the end of the game. The players actually have a hard time holding it up. It takes several guys to hold it. It's unwieldy.
Wait a minute.
It's been having some problems throughout the years.
70 pounds and these big burly football players can't lift it up?
It takes a lot of them, Sean. It takes a village. It's a Land Grant village.
Have you spotted it down there on the sideline? There is eager anticipation for its unveiling here at some point, we hope. Clifford through the hands of Jahan Dotson.
You know, originally when Penn
Holly's
State...
on the case. She's down there trying to find it.
She'll find it. When Penn State first joined the Big Ten, they tried to make the Penn State-Michigan State a rivalry game at the end of the season. And it started out that way, and they were going to call it the Land Grant game, you know, for the Land Grant Trophy. And then that kind of went away, and then they moved the game to a different part of the season. But it's still the Land Grant Trophy, I guess.
But they were not allowed to play later in the year.
I don't know. Don't know why that changed or how that changed. But the rivalry was going to be a stretch to try to make that an annual rivalry based on being 2 Land Grant universities.
There's a sack for Antoine Simmons, who takes down Sean Clifford. Well, remember when I think it was UConn and UCF? The UCF people wanted the Connecticut people, I believe, wanted to start a rivalry, so they called it something. And Scott Frost didn't even take the trophy back to Orlando. He left it on the bench at Rentschler Field in Connecticut. We're not really into this kind of contrived trophy game. There are a lot of trophy games. This part of the country especially. With Blake Gillikin on the punt. Last time they downed it at the 1. This is another good one. Guy's been a terrific punter.
Yep.
And a great student. 4.0 student. Candidate for the Campbell Trophy, combining academics and football performance and leadership. There's a live look inside the big house 66 miles away. Tonight, Michigan hosting Notre Dame, 7:30 Eastern Time, a little less than an hour away on ABC and the ESPN app. Saturday night football presented by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. First visit to Ann Arbor for Notre Dame since 2013, and unfortunately that rivalry is going to go away for a while, maybe a long while. Jim Harbaugh 1-10 against top 10 teams. Chance for a big win there tonight. Sinker a little bit low from Rocky Lombardi. Holly?
I checked in with the sideline reporter for that Michigan-Notre Dame game, Maria Taylor, and she gave me this great story. Sean Crawford, a cornerback for Notre Dame, will return tonight for the first time since September after he dislocated his elbow in that Virginia contest. It's a big deal because his last 3 seasons have ended with season-ending injuries. He grew up as a Michigan fan. He's never played in the Big House. He wants to be back tonight.
That will be a fun watch. Do you have a inkling about that game?
I like Michigan. I really do. I thought Michigan did a lot of really good things last week in State College, even though they lost 28-21 to this Penn State team. They were down 21-0. They didn't give up. They stayed in the game. They fought their way back in it. And I thought their quarterback, Shea Patterson, played maybe the best game he's played since he's been at Michigan. So I kind of like them in the game, even though both teams want to run, need to throw, and the weather, just like it's here, it's which one of those two quarterbacks between Shea Patterson and Ian Book can handle the elements the best, because they're going to have to make some plays throwing the football for some big plays.
And even though Michigan in the top 20, it certainly feels like a program that could use a victory that changes the mood and the vibe around the program. Yeah. Jim Harbaugh reportedly recently sent letters around saying, I'm not going to NFL. That's our enemies. Trying to put that thought in the heads of recruits and their families.
Well, they had a very bad loss to Wisconsin, and they, no losses are good, but a much better loss at Penn State. But now is a chance to win against a top-ranked team at home and to make everybody feel better about the way the season is going for Michigan. So I think they got a great chance at it tonight.
And down in our truck, the birthday boy, Ben Ward, who is not slipping even now at age 40 today, tells us Jim Harbaugh has as many wins over ranked teams in the top 10 as Lovie Smith at Illinois. After Lovie's big win and Illinois' big win against Wisconsin last week. There are flags down on the punt. The punter Hartbarger hit the deck. Here's KJ Hamler. Turns the corner. Look out. He has blockers. He has a touchdown, but there are flags down in the end zone. And he on the punt.
KJ Hamler had a 100-yard kickoff return called back last week against Michigan because of a holding penalty. It looks like he's going to have a punt return for a touchdown called back this week because of a roughing the kicker penalty.
Spot, replay, 4th down.
Jesse Lucata called for the penalty, just 5 yards, so it'll be a repunt.
Not a lot of contact, but he's got to try to avoid that and veer outside of it. Just kind of caught the leg as he was spinning down. Pretty good acting job by Hartbarger, though.
The 6th-year senior.
I think that was a sympathy call for the Michigan State punter there. I would kick to the sideline on this one.
Well, that's what Mark D'Antonio told us yesterday they was going to do. Kick it to the sideline away from Hamler. They're not following that instruction very well.
Well, Dotson's returning this one. They gave Hamler a break.
Tired
after
the last one. Again, the snapper, Jude Pedroso, makes the tackle after a 44-yard punt, 9-yard return. Time for today's Crunch Time, brought to you by Cheez-It.
Well, it's the Penn State defense. First of all, against the run, getting more guys in the box that can be blocked. 8 guys in there. They do a great job of mixing where they bring pressures from sometimes from the field, sometimes from the boundary. They love to rush the passer. This was the sack fumble by Owe that ended up in the hands of Ellis Brooks. They are a relentless defense. They're deep. They're athletic. They play a lot of guys, so they keep fresh bodies that really love to change the line of scrimmage and pressure the quarterback. 3 takeaways today. James Franklin said about his team. When you ask about his team, he keeps saying one thing all the time. He says, we're not doing the things that get teams beat. They take care of the football. They're doing smart things. They're playing smart football. Other than the one decision by Sean Clifford tonight, in these elements, a very clean game for Penn State.
Illegal block on the return brought the ball back to the 37. That pass incomplete off the hands of Nick Bowers. Here's Kevin Nagandi. I heard Kirk Herbstreit talking on game day this morning about how Bo Nix, the freshman quarterback, has really struggled in games away from home. Performance is much better. The loveliest village on the plains at Auburn than it has been away from Jordan-Hare Stadium. Chisena, the intended target there. Incomplete pass, and it's 3rd down.
Two throws in a row at this point in the game. I don't quite understand the thinking here. Run the ball, run the clock, play field position. I mean, the chances of Michigan State scoring 3 touchdowns with their backup quarterback, pretty highly unlikely. Not sure why you want to stop the clock. Make it 3 throws.
Bumped off for K.J. Hamler, and no gain on that play. At least from the Penn State perspective, the clock didn't stop there. Michael Dowell on the tackle for the Spartans. Soward's back for the punt. He had a costly muff in the 3rd quarter. Gillikin, another low kick. Soward looked like he was going to get away from it, then elected to retrieve it. And the Spartans will start at the 21-yard line when we come back to East Lansing, Michigan. Sports Center from Los Angeles tonight after the Washington State-Oregon game. It's Fan and Neal. They'll have post-game coverage of Game 4 of the World Series. Reaction from the Notre Dame-Michigan football game. Heather Dinich along to talk about the possible path to the college football playoff for a Pac-12 team that's after the Cougs and the Ducks from Eugene on ESPN and the ESPN app. Well, there's the 3rd quarterback of the game for Michigan State, redshirt freshman Theo Day, and his first pass goes through the hands of Matt Dotson and incomplete. So the work, he went 16 for 32. Rocky Lombardi 1 for 5. So they give it off to Theo Day out of Divine Child. He's from Canton, Michigan. And there is a flag on the play exactly midway through the 4th quarter.
Add to the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 55. Player has been disqualified from the game.
Antonio Shelton. Drew trying to find it.
Well, Antonio Shelton, the starting defensive tackle, kind of jawing a little bit with the center, Matt Allen. I don't know if it was, I don't know if he spit at him or just was yelling at him. I'm not sure what the deal. It had to be more than talking, right, to eject him.
We looked to our folks down in the truck like he spit at him.
If he was just talking, there's no way they would have ejected him from the game, right, Bill Lamonier?
I totally agree with you, Todd. If it was just the yakking back and forth, it's just going to be a flag.
Yeah.
But if he spit on him, there's no room for that, and that would be a disqualification. Now the thing is, he needs to leave the bench area.
Yeah, so my other question is, does that affect him the next game?
No. For unsportsmanlike conduct disqualifications, it has no impact unless the conference wanted to get involved.
I got you.
And they wouldn't on this one.
Because that's big for Penn State also, as you take a look at what actually went on here between Shelton and Matt Allen, the Michigan State center.
Right,
yeah, you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it.
Not sure if it reached the target, but the official was right there. So Shelton ejected. Redshirt junior from Columbus, Ohio. Day on the keeper. And here comes 4th down for Michigan State. Now, I know, Todd, it's feels like a very one-sided game, but it's a 3-score game with 6.5 to go. Shouldn't there be a little urgency in the operation under the guys that maybe you think you have a chance to win?
Well, I think that there would have been when you had your starting quarterback in. When you're down to your third-team quarterback, I think you pretty much conceded that we're not going to try to fight our way back. Now, they are going for it on this 4th down play.
Just shy of midfield. And Day on target to Julian Barnett. Marquise Wilson the tackle, but it is a 1st down.
Penn State with a lot of their backups in. 2 true freshmen at corner. Marquise Wilson, who had the interception earlier. Keaton Ellis, a young man out of State College High School, enrolled early. 2 very promising freshman corners.
Day, problems with the snap. And let's check in with Kevin Nagandi.
Officials time. Injured player. Offense.
Yeah, that was a surprise, Todd, but I don't think a huge surprise. Kent State's a good football team. Matt Allen, the injured player, will come back. Well, Matt Allen being helped off the field. Starting center for Michigan State, 3rd member of his family in close succession to be the starting offensive lineman at Michigan State. Jack and Brian ahead of him.
Well, there's the ball on the ground, and you could see a couple players going for the ball. I think that was Yetur Gross-Matos who was going for the ball, but he actually went right into the side of Matt Allen's leg. I think he was going for the football, but he got a big piece of Matt Allen's leg. So now Blake Buter, who was one of the guys they just got back, Buter in there at center now. And Brian Lewerke back in the football game as well.
And his throw sails high. So, did something happen today, or did they just decide that after Lombardi and Day both had a chance, they want to go back to Lewerke? There are Lombardi and Day.
Lombardi's given his coat today. Certainly they have more than one coat for the quarterbacks.
And that pass nowhere near his intended receiver, and Marquise Wilson incomplete. Almost had an interception. It'll be 4th down and 14, 28-7 Penn State with just over 5 minutes to go. Jake Hartbarger on the punt. And they have KJ Hamler back there to field it. Sheets of rain still falling. That's a shank. Ooh. They had to duck out of the way of that as it came in hot on the Penn State sideline. They weren't really expecting that one. So under 5 minutes to go now. Tough schedule here for Michigan State. Yeah, 3rd straight game against the top 10 team. Right. Just the 3rd time in school history they've had that happen. They're the first team to face that kind of a schedule this year. But we spoke with Mark D'Antonio yesterday. Todd, they're going to be 4-4 after this game. There's a lot of speculation around here about his future. And when we asked him about it, a lot of times when you ask coaches about their situation, they might say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be the coach. He said, I'm living in the moment, which I think gave both of us the impression that maybe he's at least considering what the exit plan might be here.
Yeah, I'm not sure he knows exactly what that's going to be. I do know this. Just knowing him how we know him, he's an incredibly loyal guy. He showed that in what he did with his coaching staff coming into this season. And I just think he's the kind of guy that if there was any mention to him, hey, we'll keep you as a head coach, but you got to do this with your coaching staff, I think at that point he would say, no, no, thank you. I'm not going to do that. He's very loyal and believes in that continuity. So I don't know, because right now offensively, this is a problem that they've had for a couple years, and not sure how they're going to get that fixed.
Devin Ford, the running back. When we asked him about it yesterday, Coach D'Antonio said, well, as long as I'm enjoying it, as long as I feel like I'm making an impact on the young people I'm coaching, I want to continue to coach. He's had a phenomenal run here, including a school record 111 wins, more top 25, more bowl appearances, more bowl wins than any coach in school history, and they've had some great coaches here at Michigan State, including the man whose wins record he broke, Duffy Doherty. And he said, we asked him, what do you tell recruits? Because once it starts, and there was speculation in the paper here yesterday. Once speculation starts, people use that sort of thing against the recruiting. He said, I tell them the truth. I'm living in the moment. I don't know what the future is going to be.
I don't think my personal opinion, I don't think he has intention or desire to stop.
No.
Or to leave. I think he wants to continue and get this thing turned around. One thing that was a big story that we read coming into this week that's hurt him, because recruiting is so important in college football. It's the lifeblood of college football. After their incredible run from 2013 to 2015, it was as good a run as anybody in college football. They made it to the college football playoff. Their next recruiting class, the class of 2016, was the most highly acclaimed recruiting class in Mark D'Antonio's tenure. But now, in 2019, there's only 7 players left from that recruiting class. They had some that transferred. They had some they had to dismiss from the team for disciplinary reasons. They had one guy leave early for the NFL. And so you can't, it's hard to have a recruiting class like that go south and continue to build your program.
Well, here are players who have entered the transfer portal during the season. We mentioned Hayward and Jefferson on the bottom there. They decided to exit after Elijah Collins won the starting running back job. And some of those players wouldn't have been major factors. He said Hayward and Jefferson certainly were role players. Randall might have been as well.
Well, they had 9 4-star recruits in that class, and right now there's only one who's still on the roster. That's Naquan Jones, the backup defensive tackle, who's played tonight. One of them left was Justin Lane, who was a cornerback who left after his junior year last year. So that's a little different. But the other ones are no longer on the roster because they either transferred or were dismissed from the football team. And It's hard to absorb that kind of loss on a recruiting class in any given year.
Blake Gillikin on the punt. Soward's back deep. It's over his head, and it skips into the end zone on the wet grass. Well, they're getting closer to kickoff. A half hour away from airtime down in Ann Arbor. ABC Saturday Night Football. Notre Dame and Michigan. The Irish led by Ian Book. And there's Shea Patterson. Threw for 227 at Notre Dame last year. It's 7:30, bottom of the hour, over on ABC. Well, no matter what happens with Mark D'Antonio, whatever his career here is over, he's on his way to the College Football Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
There's no question about that. The only active Big Ten coach who's won multiple Big Ten titles, 3 of those, and can claim a Rose Bowl victory and have coached in the college football playoff. Here's Jaquan Brisker with an interception of Rocky Lombardi. Apparently now they're taking turns at quarterback for Michigan State. Brisker brought it back inside the 20.
Another unsportsmanlike penalty at the end of that because of the celebration by Brisker.
Enter the play.
Just don't need it. Don't need it.
Well, there'll be a few things that James Franklin won't be happy about when the game's over. That's one of them. Shelton spitting on an opposing player is certainly not the kind of thing that any coach wants to have to deal with.
James is in his ear, and rightfully so. I mean, come to the sideline. Do that on the sideline around your teammates. Don't do it out in the middle of the field right in front of the officials. There's no need for it, and there's no place for it. I mean, that's not about not letting guys have fun. I mean, there's plenty of ways to have fun and enjoy what you're doing. And James does as good a job as anybody of allowing his guys to have fun. I mean, in practice, in the locker room, they'll be dancing in the locker room after the game. But do it in the right way, in the right place.
Journey Brown chopped down by Shakur Brown. So Penn State will survive this test, and given that they had lost to Michigan State the last 2 years in 5 out of 6. The last 2 years they were ranked in the top 10 in the country when they lost to the Spartans. It's a good hurdle to get over, but they have a tough schedule remaining. 4 games left in the regular season for Penn State after today, and the next one after a bye week, which they are looking forward to.
Yeah.
We talked to Sean Clifford last night. He said they could definitely use a rest. Brian Lewerke mentioned that Michigan State players certainly felt a little rejuvenated after their bye week this past week, although it didn't show up on the field today. Here's the schedule. At Minnesota, still undefeated are the Gophers. Indiana, a 5-win team entering today.
Better team than people realize. Leading Nebraska, I think, the last time I checked here in the ball game today. And then, of course, Ohio State, which is, I mean, they may very well be the best team in the country right now, Ohio State. The most complete team. Justin Fields has been outstanding with their offense. J.K. Dobbins, as good a running back as there is in college football. And then that defense is ridiculous this year.
Indiana, here's Journey Brown turning the corner. Indiana leads at Nebraska 38-31 in the fourth quarter, about 3 minutes to go. That would be bowl eligibility and win number 6 for Coach Allen's team. What a job he's doing.
Tom Allen's a passionate guy, loves Indiana. You know, it's in his blood, and he's really done a good job. They're an exciting offensive football team.
I'm surprised we're not in take a knee mode here.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
You almost wonder now in this day and age, you know, trying to
I'm not
get
a big
the attention
style. I'm not a big style point guy.
No, nor am I. I'd like to think the College Football Playoff Committee doesn't really get swayed much by that. Straight ahead, Journey Brown. Raekwon Williams makes the tackle. They don't have to snap it again. It doesn't look like they will. Although James Franco could take the lead here and just start trotting across the field for the handshake. Looks like now that's what's going to happen. At least the Michigan State people are starting across the field.
Well, another impressive gutty win by Penn State on the road in the Big Ten. We saw them in Iowa a couple weeks ago at Kinnick Stadium at night do it. And now in bad weather against a team that's beaten them 2 years in a row, Penn State takes care of business again.
They go to 8-0 and 5-0 in Big Ten play. Remaining tie with Ohio State for the lead in the Big Ten East. Michigan State with 3 straight losses. The quarterbacks comparing notes on how hard it was to hang on to the football. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, I am with the birthday boy. Happy birthday yesterday, right?
Yeah, yesterday. Turned 21 yesterday.
All right, well, 3 touchdown catches, a career high for you today. Why were you seeing the ball so well in this driving rain?
I think the O-line blocked really well for Cliff, get me open, and the receivers ran good clear routes for me, and I did Cliff did a good job getting me the ball.
What was the hardest part of coming back from a really tough, emotional game last week, having the energy and the focus to come out here and got a win on the road?
Yeah, it was huge for us. It just built our confidence even more. Coach Franklin and the coaching staff really preached that all week, how to come out here and play fast and play hard and get on them early. And I think we did that, and I think our confidence is really at an all-time high right now.
You tied Mike Gesicki's record for career touchdown catches for a tight end, and you're just a sophomore. What is ahead for you? Why are you doing such a great job right now?
I'm blessed. I'm happy that coach is putting me in a position to score and make plays. I saw Coach Ronnie, the coaching staff, and I'm happy, and I just got to continue to work.
Happy birthday, young man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Typical humble son of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Notre Dame and Michigan still to come in just moments now from Ann Arbor. Final score, Penn State 28, Michigan State 7. Now for Holly Rowe, Todd Blackledge, our terrific crew, led by our producer Phil Dean, our director Scott Johnson. Sean McDonough saying so long. Back to the studio we go. Here's Kevin Nagandi.